Imagine your students learning English from a podcast, custom made by you. No expensive gear, no editing, just AI doing the hard work. In this video, I'll show you how to create an engaging podcast in minutes. Finding a topic for your custom podcast can be tricky. That's why we'll use AI. Now today I'm going to go use a different AI. I'm going to use Grok. Now if you don't know what Grok is X's, or formerly known as Twitter's, free AI tool. Now, one of the things I love about Grok is that you can access the latest X posts and it searches the internet. So let's take a look at the prompt I come up with. What are 5 fun, trending topics that university students are discussing outside of the class? Focus on pop culture, entertainment, and social trends that would engage EFL learners. Things like Gen Z slang, K-pop, viral challenges, or must-watch videos. Now that we have some topics, choose the one that best fits your students. For me, I'm going to go with Gen Z slang takeover because my students have been asking me to teach them some Gen Z slang. Once you have your topic, now it's time to gather some materials. You're going to need materials, websites, YouTube videos, blogs, to give the AI tool to reference when it creates the podcast. So let's take a look at the prompt to find some materials, and we'll stick with Grok. Search for the latest articles, blogs, and social media posts about Gen Z slang, focusing on trends and examples from 2024 and 2025. Now that we have some information about Gen Z slang, we can easily access the websites that Grok used to gather this information just by clicking here where it says 15 web pages. Now on the right side here, we can quickly access any of the links to the websites if we want to learn more about our topic. So now that we have all the materials we need, we're going to head over to Google's NotebookLM and begin to create our podcast. The tool we're going to use to create our custom podcast is called NotebookLM. NotebookLM is a unique AI tool by Google. What makes it unique is that it only outputs information based on the sources you give it. So that means that you don't have to worry about hallucinations like you would with other tools like ChatGPT or even Grok. So let's create our first note. So you can create a note by clicking Create New. So first on the left side is where you would add your sources. Now with a free account, you could add up to 50 sources per note. In the middle window is your chat window. This is where you can ask questions about those sources. And then finally on the right side is the studio. This is where we will customize and create our own podcast just by clicking one button. Now let's start adding our sources. So to add a source, we're going to come back to our source window and we're going to click Add Source. So here we have a few different choices. We can add Google Docs or Google Slides or anything from our Google Drive. We can even add audio files here. In the middle here, we can add links from websites, which we will use today, as well as links from YouTube videos. And on the right side, you can paste text. So let's start by pasting the text that Grok gave us. So just click on Copy Text and then paste your text. This is the text that Grok gave us. Click Insert. And now it's generating the text over on the left side. And it also gave us a title so we'll know what text that we copied. Let's add a few more sources. How about we add some of those websites that Grok found for us? So click Add Sources, and then click on the link here or click on Websites and paste the link and click Insert. Now you may see an error from time to time. This error usually means that the website is either private or it doesn't allow people or AI bots to access the website. In this case, it worked fine. So let's add a few more websites. Now that we have our sources in place, we're going to create our custom podcast. So over here on the right in the studio, we can customize or we can generate. Now I can click Generate and Google will just create a 2-speaker podcast. However, I'm looking for something more specific. So I'm going to click on Customize. Now for the custom instructions, you have about 500 characters to input for your instructions. So keep that in mind. Now for my podcast, I'm going to customize it in a format that's similar to the BBC 6-Minute English. For a long time now, probably about 10 years, I've been using the BBC 6-Minute English with my students, and it's been fantastic. However, I've always wanted to be able to create my own custom topics for the speakers to talk about. And now that's completely possible with NotebookLM. So let's take a look at my template for my custom instructions. So here I'm asking it to create a 6-minute podcast script based on the sources provided. Format it like BBC 6-Minute English with 2 speakers. Use simple conversational English. Include a short introduction, this week's question with a fun multiple choice question, answer at the end, definitions of keywords naturally in the dialogue, references to sources, example, according to BBC News, and then a summary with the final answer to the question, and define key vocabulary used throughout the podcast. Now keep in mind, I'm asking it to output 6 minutes, but it's probably not going to do that. It's probably going to give me something between 10 and 13 minutes. So let's see how it works. Now when I click the generate button, it's going to take an awful long time. Well, not an awful long time, but probably about 3 to 5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer to generate the podcast. So keep that in mind when you're building this. Now that our podcast has finished, which took about 3 minutes to generate, let's listen to see what NotebookLM has come up with.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You guys sent in a ton of interesting articles on slang this week.
Yeah, seems like everybody's talking about Gen Z slang these days.
It's pretty cool, right? Like, language is constantly evolving.
Perfect. So if you'd like to regenerate your podcast, maybe it didn't output what you wanted, you can go back and tweak the custom instructions and then regenerate the podcast. But keep in mind that on a free account, you can only generate 3 podcasts per day. Congratulations, you've just created your own custom podcast using AI. But what if you wanted to take it a step further and create a custom worksheet that goes along with your podcast? I'll show you how. The first thing you're going to need is the transcript for your podcast. Now to do this is pretty simple. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to download the podcast. So to download your podcast, come over to the podcast and click the 3 dots here and then click download. That'll download to your downloads folder pretty quickly. Now to get the transcript, we're going to re-upload the audio file as a source. So just like we did before, we're going to click add source, but this time we're going to choose a file on our computer and upload it. Now I've already done this. So over here we have our Gen Z Trends 2024-2025.wav file. This is our audio file. Now I don't want to confuse the AI when I ask for the transcript. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck all of the sources and I'm going to recheck just the audio file. So now NotebookLM is only going to refer to my audio file. And to make a transcript, I'm going to use this prompt. Write a transcript for the audio file and separate by speaker. So I click enter. Perfect. Now I have my transcript word for word from my audio file. To create a worksheet, let's jump over to ChatGPT. In ChatGPT, I'm going to paste in the transcript, and above the transcript, I'm going to enter a prompt that will get me the output for the worksheet exactly the way I want it. So let's take a look at the prompt. Create an EFL listening comprehension worksheet based on this transcript. Include pre-listening questions, fill-in-the-blank exercises, comprehension questions, vocabulary matching, and discussion prompts. Now you can go into more detail about how you want to customize your worksheet, but for this demonstration, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. So let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. Great. Now we have a custom worksheet to go along with our custom podcast. You can copy this worksheet and paste it directly into Google Docs and share it with your students. But you're probably wondering, why did I switch to ChatGPT to create my worksheet? Well, I switched because ChatGPT has one of my favorite features. It's called Canvas. If you'd like to learn more about Canvas, check out this video. Now in Canvas, I can make custom edits to specific parts of the output. So let's take a look at the worksheet and see if we can edit anything. So I like my pre-listening questions. My vocabulary blanks are great, but I think my comprehension questions might be a little bit too difficult for my EFL students. So let's change them to multiple choice questions to make it a little easier. So all I'll do here is I'll highlight all the questions. I'll click on this little chat button or ask ChatGPT button, and then I'm going to paste in this prompt. Change each question to a multiple choice question. All right, so ChatGPT is going back through the entire output and Voila, it's just changed the questions into multiple choice questions, and it's left the rest of the worksheet the same. That's very important because if I wasn't using Canvas, often the AI chatbots will change everything, and that's not what I want. Think about this. A few minutes ago, you didn't have a podcast. Now you have a custom English lesson that sounds professional, and you didn't need any expertise or any expensive equipment. Comment down below on the topic you're going to use to create your own custom podcast today. And if you like this video, you'll really love this one.